Hello YouTube, this is Lachlan T 1984. For those of you who are subscribed to my YouTube channel and who are also friends with me on Facebook, will know that I've recently had a rather interesting saga regarding my original Worlds of Wonder Teddy Ruxpin. I sent it off to toyzthattalk for repairs because the motors needed replacing and it just wasn't working terribly well. She sent it back, and unfortunately when she sent it back I discovered that it was working, it was basically in an even worse condition than it was when she first sent it to me, when I first sent it off to her. That was my first Teddy Ruxpin, and so we had to talk about that, and she very kindly and very generously offered to send me another Teddy Ruxpin as a replacement for nothing. And so the replacement Teddy Ruxpin arrived, and it worked, but unfortunately just after it arrived, the tape deck started chewing up tapes. And so I contacted toyzthattalk again and said, look, unfortunately we're having more problems. This next Teddy Ruxpin you've sent me is chewing up cassettes. And so she said, well, look, alright, I'll send you another Teddy Ruxpin. And I was just I just couldn't believe it at that point. I was just amazed that she was going to send me another one for nothing. This is the second Teddy Ruxpin she sent me, so basically this is the third one in total. It arrived 2 days ago. It does work. I haven't done a lot of testing with this Teddy Ruxpin actually. I haven't done a lot of work with it, but so far it is working. I have noticed that the tape deck in this Teddy Ruxpin does play tapes a little bit slower than the other Teddy Ruxpins I've had do, so this one plays tapes a little bit slower. But so far it does work. I haven't done a lot of testing with it. I've only tested 2 or 3 tapes in it. But I just got this in the mail. Teddy Ruxpin Lullabies. I bought this off eBay the other week. Now, I should have at this point explained that the YouTube user AppleSocks89 recently very kindly offered to send me a copy of the Teddy Ruxpin Lullabies tape for nothing. That was about 2 months ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago. Unfortunately, the tape he sent me never arrived. It must have got lost in the post or something. But I went and bought Teddy Ruxpin Lullabies on eBay, and I have the book as well, as you can see. There's the book and there's the cassette. So let's see if this tape works. So I'll put the tape in, we'll see if it works.
Oh, hi there. How are you?
Okay, the tape is playing up a little bit. It's not playing very well. Sometimes this Teddy Ruxpin does that with some tapes. In fact, my first Teddy Ruxpin did that, but this one's doing it a bit too, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, I'll just fix that. So this is what Teddy Ruxpin's doing right at the moment with this tape.
The butterflies in springtime will lead us on our way, exploding down.
I better stop that. I'm worried that it might damage the tape. I'm worried it might start crinkling the tape up or something. That's not so good. Now, my first Teddy Ruxpin had a bit of a history of doing that with some tapes. Not with all my tapes, but with some of them it would do that. I don't know if my tapes were bad or whether the toy itself was having problems. I just don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to... Oh god, that sounds terrible. And you can see it's not animating very well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wind the tape to the other side. And we'll see if it still does it. I've wound the tape onto the other side. It's still doing it.
Oh, hi there. How are you? Oh, I'm getting kind of tired myself. When I start to get sleepy, I like to sing a lullaby. Come dream with me tonight.
Yeah, it's still... I don't understand. It's still doing that a little
Let's
bit.
go to far-off places and search for treasures bright. Come dream with me tonight. Let's build a giant airship and sail into the sky. Let's watch the ground so far below. Let's watch the birds as they fly by. The butter...
You can hear the tape speed is slightly uneven. It sounds better than it did on the other side, but it's still sounding a bit uneven.
Exploding dandelions will brighten summer's day.
I should explain, this cassette came in a box. Well, it was one of the retail boxes from the original Worlds of Wonder Teddy Ruxpin. So, it was the kind of package that it would have come in when the tape was made. And it came with the book and everything. I don't know if this cassette's ever been played before or whether this was a new out of the package cassette. The tape was fully wound on when I first put it in. I'm not sure if leaving cassettes unplayed for a prolonged period of time can cause them to do this sort of thing. But you can hear what it's doing and it doesn't sound terribly healthy, does it?
Our dream's a good one, and if our dream is right, then imagination can be real if we will dream tonight. Come dream with me tonight. Let's go to far-off places and search for... Come dream with me tonight. Let's meet a lovely princess and stand before a king.
I've really got to test more of my Teddy Ruxpin tapes with this particular Teddy Ruxpin. But so far I don't know what to say because this is being a little bit strange.
Adventure and let us live that magic dream. The orange leaves of autumn will crackle in the air. In winter tiny snow.
So as I say, this tape came to me in a box that I guess most of the Teddy Ruxpin tapes came in back in the 80s. So I'm not entirely sure whether the eBay seller I bought it from. I bought this from an eBay seller called Dunker5709. I've got most of my Teddy Ruxpin tapes from them in the past. And so I'm not 100% sure whether this tape was used previously or not. But I'll need to test more of my Teddy Ruxpin tapes with this Teddy Ruxpin to see if indeed it's going to do that with other tapes as well. Well, I should say, when I first got this Teddy Ruxpin, it did do that with the airship. On one side of the airship it did that. Eventually I was able to get that tape to work. It also did it a little bit with Take a Good Look, only not as much as it did with the airship.
Sparkle everywhere. And if our dream's a good one, and if we see it through, then the wondrous dream we dream tonight someday just might come true. We've been tucked in
Well, as you can hear now,
a treetop. We're safely here in bed. Don't need to make up its spot.
the tape isn't warbling like it was
Need
before.
a story read. So
The speed has settled a bit. It's not warbling like it was, because before it was sort of speeding up and down a little bit. It's not doing that so much now.
Time for us to dream
I should say, this Teddy Ruxpin has a plastic tape deck in it.
together like leaves on a stream. So close your eyes. It's time for us to dream.
Well, I've played the tape all the way through on one side, and apart from the warbling you heard at the start, it actually started to play quite well. The tape was playing a little bit slower than it probably should, but it was only like a tiny margin of a bit slower, like barely noticeable. Barely noticeable. It was very, very minor. But you heard about what it did at the start of the other side of this cassette. It was warbling really horribly and the sound was really muffled. That can't be a common problem with Teddy Ruxpin's, can it? I've not had too many experiences with other tape decks doing it. I do have a really old Sharp cassette player that did that with most of my tapes, but that was after many years of reliable service. It started to do that with all my tapes. I will try the other side of the tape again, and we'll see if it does that again. If it does, I'm going to stop the tape, because I just worry that if it's doing that, it might damage my cassettes. And I don't want these cassettes to be damaged. So... Oh, and actually I can hear it's crinkling the tape. I can hear it. I just heard the sound of the tape getting crunched, and it certainly hasn't pulled any of the tape out of the case. You can see it's all still there, but it sounds like something inside the tape deck was crinkling the tape up, and that worries me. That really scares me, because I don't want these cassettes to become damaged. But I did hear a slight crinkling noise from the tape deck, and that really scares me. Yeah, look, it's...
Oh, hi there.
Oh God, that sounds
How
awful.
are you? Oh, I'm getting kind of tired myself. When I start to get sleepy, I like to sing a lullaby. Come dream with me tonight.
Yeah, you can hear what it's doing. I'm going to turn that off because I'm just worried that it might damage my tape. On the other side of this cassette, it did that a little bit, but it was mainly warbling. The sound was okay. It sounded clear. It didn't sound muffled like you heard just then. It sounded really muffled. There wasn't much treble in the sound. There was a lot of bass, but not much treble. It didn't do that so much on the other side of the cassette, and it's interesting it's only doing that on one side of the tape. My first Worlds of Wonder Teddy Ruxpin that I bought second-hand off eBay did that too with some tapes, only with some. What's really interesting though is, on that other Teddy Ruxpin that I had, not only would you hear the sound going all warbly and stuff like it did just then, but you would also hear a lot of crosstalk from the animation signal, so you would hear the sound of the animation signal coming through the speaker really loudly, and it would warble and sound really horrible, and the animations would go all crazy. I would usually, when that happened, I would usually take the tape out and rewind it to the beginning of the other side, and it was interesting. One side of the tapes would play just fine, but the other side wouldn't, and it did that with some tapes only, not all of them. Now, as I say, I need to do more testing with this Teddy Ruxpin and see how many tapes it does that with, if it does it with any others. It did it with the airship the other day, I noticed. And it did it a little bit with Take a Good Look too. But again, not only was it warbling like that, but I could also hear a lot of the animation signal coding sound as well. So I don't know what to make of this. I don't quite know what is going on. I don't know if my cassettes are damaged or something. I don't know. I'm always very careful with my cassettes. I always keep them in the case that I have for them, and I always make sure I wind them to the beginning when I'm not using them, to prevent the tape from becoming tangled. You know, cassette tapes are a mechanical item and they do wear out. But I've got tapes like I've had for 20 odd years that still play just fine. And they're tapes like I've had since I was really little, like 5 years old, 6 years old. You know, and a lot of them play just fine. Even today, they still work. And they've been chewed up and stuff too. So, I don't know whether these early Teddy Ruxpins with the plastic tape deck, this is a 3-servo Teddy Ruxpin and it has a plastic tape deck. I don't know if these Teddy Ruxpins are just historically finicky with cassettes and only play certain tapes, or quite what the story is. I don't know. I just don't know. It's really quite bizarre. I just don't know. Anyway, I need to do more tape tests with my other tapes and see what happens. I know that there are people out there who professionally restore these Teddy Ruxpins. And, you know, they restore these original Teddy Ruxpins. But the thing is, the truth is, as time goes on, it's going to become harder and harder and harder to repair these, because the parts for these Teddy Ruxpins are going to become harder and harder to source. All the components like the motors and the replacement belts and other things, they'll eventually become harder and harder to source, because, I mean, Sony has stopped supporting the cassette tape. Very few companies make cassette tape players these days. It's just a fact of life. This is one of the many reasons why I would love to see a new version of Teddy Ruxpin come out. There's been a lot of talk on Josh Isaacson's Teddy Ruxpin forum about a possible new version of Teddy Ruxpin over the past couple of months, ever since the news about this new 10-pack of DVDs was announced. There's been a lot of talk about the possibility of a new Teddy Ruxpin, and so far the possibility of a new toy doesn't look terribly promising. Josh Isaacson and a few others seem to think that it's not likely at this stage that we'll see another Teddy Ruxpin toy come out anytime soon, although you never know. But at this stage the likelihood is pretty low. But this is one of the reasons why I would love to see a new version of the Teddy Ruxpin toy come out. Because unfortunately, I mean, people out there repair these things and they may do a good job, but unfortunately as time goes on it's just going to become harder and harder to fix them. So I really need to do more tests with this Teddy Ruxpin and find out what's going on. In the meantime, I will upload this video to YouTube. What I'm going to ask though is that if people are going to make comments, I would just ask that you don't make derogatory comments about Toys That Talk and her methods of repairing Teddy Ruxpin. The first video I uploaded the video on Sega's Public, which is probably not a very good idea at the time, because several people made some comments about Toys That Talk and saying that her repair methods suck, etc. Well, I sent a link to this video to Toys That Talk, and she saw the comments and she was, well, rather angry, as you would expect, and that made me feel terrible, because I uploaded the video and had posted it in such a way that people were posting comments saying that her repair methods sucked. So, once I upload this video, I'm just going to ask you people just to be a bit mindful of what you say about other people. So just be a little bit careful. So, I'll end this video here. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.